official Formula One game. No matter one's personal opinion, Formula One for the general public remains the most important series in motor racing, and the lone game per season has no room for error. And yet for the last several years, the least we could say is that we've been very disappointed with Sony's production, who profit from this enormous exclusive deal to turn out a game that is honestly far below par. We all know that even before putting Formula 105 into the machine, Sony isn't capable of pleasing simulator fans and arcade players at the same time. While the 2004 version was more than lousy, it was 100% arcade, what we're in for the 2005 edition. No surprises on the game's main menu. While the arcade mode is still a part of the decor, you can now immediately participate in a one-off race, or you can go to the solo menu, where there are other events such as qualifying sessions, weekend races, the championship mode and the career mode. In the career mode you begin as a young driver. Your first task is to get hired. To do this, private testing sessions are organised in which you're invited to take part. Your goal is to beat a time imposed by the team manager in order to secure your ride. Of course, you won't be taken on by teams like Renault or McLaren, but rather Minardi, Jordan or Red Bull Racing. Once hired, you'll have to successfully complete your rookie season and meeting the goals set by your team, or better, finish ahead of your teammate. If you have the stuff, during the season, the top-end teams will contact you with a ride in the offer. Before setting off for the first races, it's up to you to choose the level of difficulty. Forget the easiest mode, which is a challenge for a 3-year-old but nothing more. The medium level is reserved for rank amateurs. Best go straight to the most difficult level to have at least a small battle with the competition. Beware of this choice though, because it has nothing to do with the comportment of your machine, it just influences the length of the races and the performance of the competition. In another menu you can choose real-life conditions, ABS, traction control, ESP and damage control. From here, true simulator buffs turn the console off. Even when all the driving aids are disconnected, there is no finesse required. One almost never pays for a mistake, even when a player adopts a more aggressive rally driving style. Formula 105's damage control is, in a word, shameful. In the most realistic mode on offer, the car bounds in every direction. The car goes straight into the wall at 300 km an hour, and the only damage is a broken front wing. Meanwhile, the field never stops running into you, and a race usually lasts about 2 corners. We had hoped for a minimum of simulation, but what we got was a very Burnout style game. We wanted to show you the proof in images, and just after one lap of Magny-Cours with this Minardi in the hardest setting with no driving aids, we went from 20th on the grid to 1st. Need we say more?
With the first lap completed, the field looks like this.
Now for the pits. All F1 fans know that pit stops play a crucial role in a race. To better reflect this aspect of the sport, the Studio Liverpool developers decided to make this phase of the game interactive. Instead of regarding you mechanics, you will have to push on the button indicated on the screen as fast as you can to save valuable milliseconds. We would have liked this to have further thought out, and that the player would be responsible for bringing the car into the pits at an allowed maximum speed. But here we're again disappointed, because everything is done automatically just until the car arrives in its pit box. Because we mentioned the pits and the mechanics, remember that F105 allows amateur mechanics to carry out a number of adjustments. It's possible to change the brake balance, the traction control, the gear staging, the steering sensibility, the wings, the tyres and camber, the shocks and the ride height, all of which isn't anything very new. If you find it more fun to organise multiplayer competitions, you have a choice between a 2-player mode, which splits the screen, and the all-new online mode. Most likely very aware of the huge negatives from the prior edition, Studio Liverpool took a hard look and totally revamped the online functions. It's now possible to participate in races with as many as 10 players all racing against one another in the same Grand Prix. The headset is still needed throughout the length of the race. One positive aspect is the speed sensation, yet other than this effect, graphically it's again disappointing. For sure the graphics engine is completely new and the cars are just a bit more detailed, but to many of the circuits remain painfully barren. The alias effect is ever present, ever more so than what has hampered the PS2 for some time. One of the biggest selling points of the game is the inclusion of the new Istanbul circuit, which is quite a bit of fun. As you may have picked up on since the beginning of this segment, we aren't terribly impressed. Yes, we will admit to being a bit unkind with the F105 that satisfies a general audience that is perhaps unaware of the limits of a real single-seater. But real fans of the sport have had nothing to sink their teeth into for a number of years, and it's becoming tiring. It isn't necessarily the fault of the folks at Sony, but rather F1 Supremo Bernie Ecclestone himself, who sold the exclusive rights at a price that we can only imagine to be astronomical. We'd prefer an independent developer with a bit of imagination to have a go at coming up with something exciting.